Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fantasy Tip Show. I have the usual guest with me. I love that intro, Ben. Can you do that intro?
Hello, my name is Ben.
And my name is Josh.
And welcome back
And
to
welcome
Glen's
to
channel.
the Fantasy Tip Show. that was enough. That was enough, Ben. That was enough. Thank you very much. So, yeah, we will be previewing Game Week 24, a double game week for 4 teams, if I'm not wrong. So it will be interesting. The FPL focus this week will be on the 4 teams that have a double game week this week. So how are you, Ben?
Yeah, not too bad. A bit nervous after a bit of an injury crisis in the FA Cup. But yeah, hopefully over the next day, I'll make my transfers and I'll be ready for this game week.
Awesome. Josh?
Yeah, madness what's happening this week with injuries, but I'm looking forward to it. Some exciting moves I've made in my team this week.
Yeah, we'll come to that. And in case you haven't checked out the review we did on FPL Graduates show, the link is in the description, the first link in the description for the review. You can head over there and check it out. Today we want to be doing a review because we already did it there. So yeah, we'll be taking a look at the fixtures for Game Week 24. Obviously, the captain picks, the gems of the week as usual. So let's get started. Josh, I'll start with you. How are you planning to approach this Game Week 24?
Yeah, so I've already made my transfers. I only really wanted to know the Man City team news. That was the main thing going into the FA Cup. I weren't too keen on getting a Burnley defender in. I think a lot of people are hot on that. And I think if it wasn't a double game week, not as many people would have picked a Burnley defender, in my opinion. So I've sort of stayed clear of that. I've brought in Gundogan for Sterling, which is a massive call. A lot of people obviously talking to me about that. And then also the other transfer I made is Keenan Davis. He's 4.3 million at Aston Villa. I took him out and brought in Edison Cavani with some of that Raheem Sterling money.
I have really considered Cavani this week, especially that he came on for like 20 minutes before extra time for your game against West Ham. And West Brom away from home, I would actually have tripled up on United if I had enough stars. But the double game week thing has really like chased me away, I'd say, from United. Otherwise, if we didn't have any double game weeks, I'd go for United triple up this week. And Ben, how are you approaching this week?
I'm kind of not looking to force players in that have a double game week now. I'm kind of looking ahead to the future a little bit more and the fixtures that we've got coming up. Once they're confirmed, obviously, should be confirmed by tomorrow morning. We'll have a much clearer picture and a clearer idea of what the strategy should be going into Game Week 24 and further on. So I'm not particularly targeting any teams. If there aren't any that I'm targeting, potentially teams that are playing in the blank game week, just one at a time, keep it slowly moving. So then I don't have to take as many hits. So yeah, it's all about a bit of patience for me at the moment and not pulling the trigger on any transfers just yet.
Awesome. Let's get into the Game Week 24 fixtures. Ben.
Yeah, so as we can see, starting off with a bang, Liverpool and Leicester. That's going to be a cracking game, isn't it? Palace against Burnley. It's the first of Burnley's 2 fixtures. City against Spurs again. City have the double game week. And then Brighton, Villa. And then we move on to the Sunday. As you can see, we've got Southampton playing Wolves. West Brom against United. I think that's going to be a big game. Arsenal, Leeds, Everton, Fulham. Then on the Monday, we've got West Ham, Sheffield United, Chelsea, Newcastle, and then on the Wednesday, is the double game week fixtures. Burnley and Fulham against Everton and Man City.
Yeah, Josh, which fixtures are you looking forward to most?
West Brom, Man United from a personal and FPL perspective. Bruno and Cavani in that game. I only see it going one way. United will definitely run right in that game. I think you've spoken before, Glenn. West Brom have conceded like 20-something goals at home in their last 5 games, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, Man United assets for me, definitely on captaincy this week as well, despite the double game week. I think although Man City have a double game week, they're against 2 very difficult teams to play. Spurs like to counter-attack. I think it'll be a good game, that. And Everton, obviously missing DCL, got a few injuries at the minute. I think that's a decent game to look at if you're owning City assets.
Yeah, for me, I'd definitely say for clean sheets, I'd say Crystal Palace, Burnley, very, very likely to end in a 0-0 draw. Aston Villa against Brighton, I've also looked at their striker Watkins to replace Wilson from my team. I've really considered him. Although Brighton have been keeping a few clean sheets recently. And of course, I actually think United against West Brom and Arsenal against Leeds will have the most goals this week. Can see like a 3-2 and like a 4-0, 4-1, something like that in those games. And of course, City against Tottenham and against Everton. Everton, it's not just the 4 goals they conceded against Tottenham. They also conceded 3 against United in the Premier League, so their defense is not looking good. And same with Tottenham conceding 5 against Everton, not looking good. I can easily see City scoring a total of like 6 goals in those 2 games. That's why I'm very surprised that Josh took out Sterling, but we'll come to that. Ben, which fixtures are you looking forward to?
Again, I'm looking forward to that Man United fixture. I think I'm tempted now to go Bruno Fernandes on the captaincy, looking at how West Brom play at home in particular.
Yeah.
I'm also looking forward to the City games. I think Everton conceded a lot of goals recently, as we've seen against Tottenham. It didn't look defensively great. Lucas Digne could be out as well, so that only adds to the defensive issues. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then in terms of the other fixtures, there's not too many that really stand out to me as being fantastic fixtures. Maybe you can look at that West Ham Sheffield United game, but again, Moyes, he doesn't set up. He either sets up to get the goals or for a 0-0. There's no in between. So yeah, it's a couple of games in there that I'm definitely looking forward to.
I agree with you. So without wasting any more time, let's get into the double game week teams, and we'll start with Manchester City. So Josh, which 3 assets would you advise people to get for the City double game week?
Yeah, it's an interesting one with City, because obviously the rotation is one of the main issues that we have, especially going forward. For me, I think Phil Foden is a fantastic option. If you want to risk it, I think he's a great option. He obviously he played, I think, 20 minutes or something along those lines against Swansea midweek in the FA Cup. So it looks like he'll feature against Spurs, definitely. He's a great player for Pep against the top 6. He always seems to score an assist. And likewise, obviously, the man in the picture, Raheem Sterling, played very, very well against Liverpool. And obviously, I did take him out of my team this week, but there is no cap that he is a very, very good option this week as well. I just wanted to spread my funds about, and he was the easiest way to do that, with getting, obviously, City players in there still with like the likes of Gundogan. I think he's still probably the best value for money City asset to own right now, Ilkay Gundogan.
I'm still very surprised you took him out. So, Ben, any different opinions, or do you agree with these opinions?
I think the best option going forward is going to be Raheem Sterling for this double game week, and a controversial one for Josh because I know he's transferred him out. Sorry, but I think out of all of those attacking assets, I think he's going to be the most sure one to get minutes for me. I look at him; he's played 56 minutes and got a goal against Swansea. Always good for him to get a goal, and like I say, when a player is on form and is looking good, Pep tends to play them. We saw that earlier on in the season when Mahrez got that ridiculous attacking return, and he then went on to play the next 3 or 4 games. So I think Sterling's definitely going to play in play minutes in at least both of those games, and I think he's going to get at least 1, maybe even 2 returns in those games. In terms of other players, I'd look at John Stones as a really good value player. City obviously have recently played in that sort of when they go and defend, Cancelo kind of slots in right back and they attack, and they have almost a 3 at the back, don't they? And Stones is a key part of that. And then in terms of other players, maybe João Cancelo. Really like the look of him right now. Kyle Walker played the full 90 against Swansea, so I can see Cancelo getting the call up.
Definitely agree with all those. Although, as I said on your show, I'm not really keen on their defense. I'm going to come to my 3 options. But as Shiv says, we have to talk about him for at least 30 seconds. Because remember, Josh, I'm not wrong. He was a City player. So is he an option for this week? He was a City player. But if he was a City player still, he'd definitely be an option again. So Kelechi, and actually you're right, Shiv. I've proved Josh and Ben wrong twice already. And I can see him getting another goal against Liverpool. Just imagine the meltdown. So my 3 options, I'm not going to go for any defenders. My options will be definitely Sterling. Josh still can't believe you took him out. Sterling. Gundogan, you subbed off in the last game against Swansea. Definitely an option. And obviously Phil Foden. Those 3, very, very good options. I was looking on Tuesday night, I was looking at Gabriel Jesus again. I remember there's a time Josh captained him, and I also captained him in that week. I was looking at him again, but as long as he started the game against Swansea, I wasn't going to bring him in. So I changed my mind on that one because I actually have that 5 million in the bank and I can take out Wilson and bring in Jesus, but I decided not to. So those are my 3 options. Definitely not any other. In fact, like no defenders and stuff. The next team. Okay, so let me ask one more question. Which option would you avoid from City for this week, Josh?
For me, it would have to be one of I've got 3 really. Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, Gabriel Jesus. I think they're the most unlikely in terms of minutes. You're very unsure on what's going to happen. You can maybe even slide Phil Foden into there, although he only played a small amount of minutes against Swansea. You can never really tell with the wingers, especially in the Pep attack, who he's going to play. I do think Sterling is a good bet. I think he'll get the most minutes, like Ben said, but I still feel like there will be a lot of rotation there. You never see Pep start the same wingers in 2 different fixtures. And if he does, he tends to sub them off pretty early. So, I think those 3 that I mentioned are the worst ones to get.
Ben?
I'm going to be a bit controversial here. And I'm going to say a very highly owned player, Ilkay Gundogan. Now, I know he's banged in goals recently, and everyone's probably going to start shouting at me. But hear me out. I think against the bigger teams, Pep likes to play 2 in that pivot role. And Rodri is back now. So I think he will be in there. And I think Gundogan potentially could play in that position as well. So I think he's going to have a more defensive role to play against 2 pretty decent teams. So I don't see him potentially getting an attacking return. Although you look at the value for money, I agree with that. But I think that everyone has money in the bank right now. And I think you'd surely want to get someone like Sterling or Foden who plays a more advanced role rather than Gundogan. I can see why people would bring him in though, because he is, 5.9, 6 million?
6 million now, yeah.
So he is very cheap. But yeah,
I had him 2 seasons ago.
Avoid.
I had him in my team the whole season 2 seasons ago, not last season, the season previously before he got injured. He was very, very good. I think he was like 5 million flat or something. The next one I'll start with you, Ben. It's Everton. Obviously, a couple of injuries here and there for them. So which 3 options are you looking at?
Yeah, it's a strange one because Everton played a pretty strong side, didn't they, against Tottenham and had to play the 420 minutes. But in terms of players you'd look at, Gylfi Sigurdsson, he looked absolutely fantastic against Tottenham. Got, 3 or 4 assists, something crazy like that against Spurs, and he looked absolute quality. The one set up the winner was class, and definitely look towards him as one of the options. I'd say in terms of other ones, I wouldn't really look in terms of defensive options because I think they're going to concede goals against Fulham and City. So I'd look towards maybe Richarlison as my other option. And if I don't think he's going to be fit, but I'm going to rule out Calvert-Lewin as not fit. And say my last option, potentially Alex Iwobi, maybe. I'm not too sure, but Richarlison.
Iwobi.
Who else?
Kelechi Iheanacho is better. Kelechi Iheanacho is better than you.
Probably, but Everton don't really have more than 2 good attacking options right now, and I don't want to pick their defenders because they're playing City. So I'll have to go Richarlison, Sigurdsson, and Iwobi. Even I don't really want to be saying that, but I don't think there's any other better players in that team.
I think from the 20 plus shows we've done with Ben, I think that is the worst pick he's ever had on any of the shows we've done. Josh, surely Bernard is better than Iwobi.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he scored the winner, but in terms of that attack for Everton, especially without DCL, because he looks like he will miss 1, if not both of the games. He's got a hamstring. He's having like a scan on his hamstring. So we'll see probably tomorrow in Ancelotti's press conference how many minutes he plays in that. I think going forward, the only option is probably Richarlison. I know James Rodriguez has picked up a knock as well. Everton, I'd probably steer clear of, if I'm honest. They've picked up so many injuries in the space of a week. It's like pretty much taken all their first team and best options out. And I think it looks quite worrying if you're an Everton fan, because where are the goals going to come from? Even against Fulham, I think they're going to struggle to score, with Fulham being so good defensively. So happy as an Areola owner, I probably would just steer clear, to be honest. I think there's way better options with a single game week than this double for Everton.
Yeah, my first option, I agreed, Shiv Dukure. He's definitely playing every single game, probably 90 minutes in both. He gets himself into very, very nice positions. Scored against United, Josh will know about that. He also assisted in the game again. So he's a very, very, very good option for me. The second one is Richarlison, as Ben said, and it's not just an option because he's already into my team now. I made the sub today morning, and he's in for Wilson because I fancy him. The way he played in those 2 games against United and Tottenham, he looked very, very good. And Calvert-Lewin, if he's out, Richarlison will be a very, very good option. I've never really owned him in any of my teams since the days he was at Watford or something. So it's good to have him in. And then the third one will probably be a defender, Ben, because I feel like they can get a chance from a corner or something. So I'll still stick with Michael Keane from somewhere. So I'm hoping he'll get a goal in one of the 2 games or an assist or something. So those are my 3 options. And Josh, speaking of, yet again, I think Ben has already answered that question, but I'll ask you for one, Ben. Which player will you avoid totally from Everton?
Which player would I avoid totally? I'd probably say you'd probably want to avoid Calvert-Lewin this week because I think he's injured. But also thinking about what you said earlier, one that I think we've all overlooked really is Everton's new signing, Josh King, because he didn't play in the FA Cup because he's already played in the Cup for Bournemouth. So potentially one we're overlooking now. He's had a bit of a rest. That could be where the goals come from. But like Josh says, I'm still not convinced by the attacking output of that Everton side.
Josh, any player to avoid from Everton?
I think the majority, to be honest, the DCL is definitely one. Unless something comes out tomorrow saying that he's magically fit and healthy, I think he's the main one to avoid because a lot of people probably looking towards him, myself included. Like if he was fit, he'd probably come in over Cavani for me. But with him being out now, it's just that Everton team, especially without James as well. It's not good looking going forward. And even against United let them have the goals pretty much. I don't think they've done anything spectacular. I think they had like 4 or 5 shots all game. So yeah, I think stay clear of that attack for me.
Is he actually out, James?
James, I'm not sure on him as much as DCL. I've seen that he's 75% on FPL. So whether he's out or not is a big question mark there.
I was really wondering when Ben said there's no like attacking options. I'd actually totally forgotten about Josh King, and I've just remembered James Rodriguez is also there. So if they're all fit, very, very good options. Then speaking of Areola, Josh, the next one is Fulham. A couple of fixtures against Everton and Burnley. Yeah. So which 3 options did you go for from?
Well, I have one already, and we've mentioned him, Areola. I think he's probably him along Sanchez, the both best value keepers at the minute. I think around 4.4 million. He's making saves. Fulham look very good defensively, especially against the bigger teams, which is ideal because they'll probably sit back against Everton, I can imagine. So he's number 1. I think any of the defending options are very good as well. If you want to go a little bit outside the box, I know a lot of people have Areola. So maybe like Robinson, I think he's created the most chances for Fulham so far this season from left back. So he's probably a good option. And then up front, I think Ademola Lookman, £5 million. He's a nice little punt for very little risk. So he could definitely score maybe in both of those games because he's Fulham's probably best attacker going forward.
Robinson is the one who picked up a red card a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Ben, 3 options. You have a lot to choose from. You have a whole bunch in that picture.
Yeah, so I'm going to go for, like Josh said, Areola. He is one that I'm looking to get in this week, but I haven't pulled the trigger again because of the Southampton keepers. We don't know who's going to be played, who's going to be dropped. McCarthy isn't even in the squad for tonight's FA Cup game, so I'm looking out for that one. But yeah, Areola in goal. In terms of going forwards, I think Anguissa is a really good option going forwards. He gets the odd assist here and there. And in the last double game week, he actually did get an attack in return. So I'd look to him potentially going forward. He gets lots of assists, and he's really that one that drives the Fulham attack. And then for another attacker, my outside pick is going to be Josh Maja, Fulham's new signing. He got 60 odd minutes in the last game. 30 minutes I think he got in the last game. And yeah, he's a really good striker. He was at Bordeaux, I believe, and he's come over and could hit the ground running and really add some spark to the Fulham attack. But we'll wait and see for that one, won't we?
Some really good options. And did I hear you say bring in Areola?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go back to the last two episodes. I think the first 2 episodes of January where Ben was like, how can you bring in Areola? He'll never do anything for your team. So he's literally seen the light. He's finally seen the light. They're actually looking good defensively, surprisingly. Yeah. I think they've only lost like 2 games in the last 12, and many of them have been nil-nils, 1-1. So he's looking very good. So any option to avoid from Fulham, Josh?
Probably their attackers mainly. I think you're not going to get much output out of the Fulham attackers. I know I said Lookman, but I think he's probably the most likely. Ruben Loftus-Cheek's one to avoid, in my opinion. He plays fantastic football, but no real FPL return so far this season. So, I'd say Loftus-Cheek.
Ben, I'm going to ask you about Mitrovic because you might have watched him more last season more than us. So how comes he's not playing all of a sudden?
He's not playing. There's probably a combination of things resulting in attitude, and he is very much a player that gets inside his own head. So if he's in a bad run of form, that you've lost him for the season basically. And I think it was one of them ones you could see after that Sheffield United game where he missed a penalty, lost his head, and he lost his touch. And you think, hang on, if you own him, no point anymore. He looked really good at the start of the season, didn't he? And I think it goes to show. January transfer window, Fulham bring in a striker, and if you've got Mitrovic sat there, must be a reason why you're bringing in a striker. And definitely for me, the one to avoid.
Okay, the next one I'll start with you, Ben. Burnley, 3 options.
Yes, I think a lot of people have been hyping this team up for the double game week, and I'm not convinced. But definitely the man in the picture is one of the main picks you'd like to go for, Nick Pope. He's got 3 11-pointers this season. He's, of course, an outstanding goalkeeper and gets the save points and gets the clean sheet. So definitely one I'd look to get in. And in terms of going forward again, their attacking output is not great. So you'd look towards any of the defenders in there. Peters potentially. I don't know if Taylor's back yet. Ben Mee, Tarkovsky at the back, they get goals from corners, but going forwards, I wouldn't really recommend anyone from that Burnley side.
Yeah, from those names, Josh, some of those names are just so boring to own. Like, any 3 options you can find?
Yeah, I put a tweet out this week. I said, like, is it just a hype or is it because you generally bring them in? I feel like if it isn't a double game week, no one brings in these defenders for these fixtures. I think it is very much overhyped. I don't think that's not to say I don't think they will return. I think they could keep a clean sheet in both of those games. I think they're one of the top 3 on the highest probability of clean sheets this week. So it's interesting. Going forward, though, there is barely anything. I think Dwight McNeil, if you really, really want to punt, he's very good on the ball. Whether he plays or not, though, is questionable. Sean Dyche doesn't seem to favour him at the minute. So it's interesting that he obviously played very well against Aston Villa when they won 3-2 in that cracker of a game. But defensively is where the money is, to be honest. I think Eric Peters at 4.3 million. I'm almost certain he'll play over Taylor. Taylor's still out injured. 4.3 million's bargain. Same with Loughton at 4.5. I'd stay clear of Mee and Tarkovsky. I think they're far too expensive. I don't think they'll get any goals or any more attacking threat. I think Eric Peters provides the most attacking threat at 4.3 million. So, it's very boring, to be honest. I wouldn't. That's why I've steered clear of it, because I just don't want to be watching Burnley and praying for a clean sheet, to be honest.
Yeah. This will be Ben Mee to you, Josh, when he scores 2 goals this game. We could be like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? So, any players you're avoiding from Burnley, Ben, if not all?
Honestly, not even looking to get any Burnley players in for this game week at all. I honestly prefer the value of Areola over Nick Pope, which you wouldn't think I'd be saying that a few weeks ago, right? So, honestly, none of them really take my fancy. Like, I can see it being close games. The fixtures they got coming up, attacking wise, is definitely the ones to avoid. If you're gonna pick anyone, it's going to be someone defensively, either in the back four or the goalkeeper.
Okay, just a couple of questions from the chat before we get to the captains. Josh, Dylan asks, do you think Lookman will score?
I think it's probably the highest probability out of any Fulham player. I think he looks very good going forward. I hope he. I think, is he only on loan at Fulham this season? Do we know?
Yep.
Yeah, I think if he gets to a good move next season, because obviously he's from RB Leipzig on loan, I think he can, in a better team, he'll score a lot more goals for himself. Whether he'll score this week, big debate. I'm not sure. I don't want to put my money on that, to be honest.
Would you be confident if he stepped up to take another penalty like he did a couple of months ago?
Yeah, lightning don't strike twice. I think he'll put that one away.
He'll put that away. Okay, then kind of out of the FPL question, Ben Shiv asks top 4 predictions for the league.
Well, I'm going to go the obvious one. City definitely going to get top 4. I think Liverpool pick themselves back up and finish in the top 4. I think Leicester are going to finish in the top 4. And for the final one, I'm going to go Chelsea. I think Tuchel will get him and has got him playing in the right way. And in terms of Europa League, it'll be, I think Tottenham will get in the Europa League. See, I've not even said Man United, have I?
Nope.
I'm wondering, like, we're running out of positions.
I was like, where are we coming?
Let me redo that. Man City, Man United, Liverpool, and I'm going to say Chelsea. I think Chelsea's just going to pick Leicester. I think Chelsea's just going to pick Leicester.
So
Leicester and Tottenham Europa League. Yeah.
I could say something like that, but I can actually see Leicester finishing in the top 4. I think.
Yeah, I think
finishing the top 4.
I think it'll be really close though between Leicester and Chelsea. I really want Leicester to be in the Champions League, but I just think Tuchel, he's got that experience, hasn't he, in pressure situations. So
I actually don't think he'll get into the top 4. Josh, will DCL play from Grady?
Highly unlikely. If he does, he plays the second fixture, which is Man City, I think, or is it? I'm not sure. He plays the second fixture anyway, if he is fit. But check out Ancelotti's press conference tomorrow. You'll find out a more clear answer there. The fact he's having a scan on his hamstring isn't the best thing in the first place. So I'd probably stay clear. I'm sure there's plenty of other strikers you can choose from.
Awesome. Play Alonso, Bamford, Ben?
Alonso. Next question.
Alonso. Oh yeah, that's a terrible question to ask, Ben. Don't take his answer, Dylan. Don't take his answer. It's definitely Bamford. No, actually, take his answer. It's playing against Arsenal. No, sorry, scrap that. He's playing against Arsenal. Scrap that. Definitely Alonso for this week. Next question. This is the first time I'm agreeing with
you know who to pick from those two agendas, Dylan, mate.
I actually do think he will definitely score. The way they play, they are very, very quick and running for 90 minutes. I don't think we'll be able to keep up with them. So next topic, Josh, Game Week 24 captain picks. Which 2 are you considering, and any other player that you don't own that you'd pick?
So my main player that I'm considering picking is Bruno Fernandes, because surely if he isn't captained, he usually harms your rank. So it's a big plus to captain him this week. Other than that, I'm not really too keen on City. I think this is potentially where they might slip up a little bit. Not saying they're going to lose, but I think they could drop points against Everton or Tottenham. So unsure on that. But if I was to pick a City player, I know it sounds so controversial, but I'd probably captain Raheem Sterling, even though I have taken him out of my team. Just because he is probably the most dangerous going forward. I just think Gundogan and Cavani will outscore Sterling and Davis. That's the reasoning behind my transfer. I think I can see Cavani maybe getting 2 goals against West Brom. It's going to be a high-scoring game. So yeah, those are my main thoughts going with captaincy this week.
Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it's a toss-up between Bruno Fernandes and Raheem Sterling for anyone this game week. I don't have Sterling, so that means my captaincy will be on Fernandes. And like me and Josh have been saying throughout the season, play the best player against the worst team. Don't look at whether teams have double fixtures or not. I agree with Josh. I think potentially going forward, City might struggle to break down this Tottenham team. We know how Mourinho likes to play against the big sides, and we've seen this season, especially games against the top six, barring that City game against Liverpool and the United game against Spurs. It's been a lot of 0-0s all around, so I can't see many goals in that one. And yeah, I think Sterling or Bruno is probably the best to go for. But yeah, I'm going Bruno away at West Brom.
I'm pretty sure, Josh, you're gonna have a couple of double game weeks United, or none. You've already played against Burnley.
I'm not really. I don't think we do have too many. I think if we keep progressing in the FA Cup, you get a couple more. I know we definitely blank in 29 now. We're meant to face Crystal Palace, so there's definitely one coming. But not too many. I wouldn't have thought.
I'm asking that question because I really have wanted to captain Bruno, given the triple captaincy later on, because right now that triple captaincy is on this guy right now. I've actually activated it, but I'm really scared to go through with it. But if things are looking good, I'd actually love it if he scores 3 goals in these 2 games, and Josh had actually taken him out. I'd actually be very, very happy, especially if after he got only 1 assist from De Bruyne for his captaincy. I'd be very, very happy. So, gem of the week, Ben. Gem of the week. Any differentials?
In terms of differential options, I think it's quite difficult this week to pick out one that you'd say is a good differential option to have. But I'm going to say this week, my differential of the week. Hang on, let me just check his ownership. He's a defender, and he's got a great fixture. Okay. Yeah, he's got low ownership. It's going to be Luke Shaw of Man United. He's at 4.9 million for this week. West Brom away, and then Newcastle at home the following week. He's probably the best defender United have at the minute. Going forwards and defensively, he's all over the pitch. He's picking up bonus points left, right, and centre right now as well. And yeah, I think he's going to be a good one for this week against not a great West Brom side defensively. We saw Arsenal really took advantage with their fullbacks and their wingers against West Brom. So I can see Man United doing the same.
I absolutely love him. I have him in my team. I brought him in because of the way he was attacking for United, and I still have him. Could easily even get a vice captain this week or something. So I definitely agree with that. Josh, any other options?
Yeah, it's going to be a little addition onto Ben's one. It's going to be Edison Cavani, under 5%. I've brought him in this week. If Man United are getting down the wings and whipping crosses in, there's only one man in that box that's going to put him away, and that's Edison Cavani. Easily see him returning this week. If he doesn't return, I'll be very surprised. The only 2 ways he doesn't return, he either has a stinker or he doesn't start the game. And I think both of those are pretty confirmed that won't happen. I think his minutes are pretty much assured, considering he only came on for about 15 minutes in the week against West Ham. So yeah, I think he's a best bet this week in terms, especially now DCL's out as well. I think he's a great option.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was concerned about was Cavani's minutes. I was looking at, I was on FPL and I was looking. He literally plays 90 minutes, 45 the next, 90 minutes, 45 the next. Yeah. And last game week he played 90. But of course, if the FA Cup, I guess he's probably more.
That's actually what kept me away from him. Go ahead.
Yeah, last 5 Prem games, he's played 90 in 4. So I think going off that, that's a fairly okay stick. He only played 45 against Southampton, who we were winning 4-0 or whatever at halftime anyway. So he's more rested for the next fixture there. So I think realistically, if you look at the Premier League games, the one that really matter, I think he plays the majority of the minutes. I don't see Martial coming into the team. He hasn't looked very lively, and he seems like he likes the Rashford, Bruno, Greenwood, Cavani foursome up front. So I think hopefully, anyway, Cavani plays the majority of the minutes.
I looked at that, Ben, the fact that he plays 90 and then sits on the bench and then sits on the bench literally for the last 8 game weeks or something. There's been that sequence. And I really considered him, and not because of the West Brom fixture alone. He also has Newcastle after that, and I actually feel they'll win both games heavily. So I was actually like, even if he doesn't play 90 minutes here, he'll get 90 minutes against Newcastle and he'll score a bunch of goals against them. So very good 2 fixtures for them. I'm happy to own Bruno and Shaw for now. My option will definitely be Richarlison. I'm actually very surprised he's owned by less than 5%, 4.8% currently. Yes, he hasn't scored that many goals. If there's a player who's gonna play both games, I feel it's gonna be him, because in the last 8 game weeks he didn't play against Sheffield. He only played like 10 minutes against Wolves. He was subbed off against Leeds. So for me, it's a very good option, especially if Calvert-Lewin is off. They'll definitely be like depending on him and Josh King, as Ben mentioned earlier. So I feel like against Fulham, it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I fancy them to get a goal against City. So I'm hoping for like 15 points at least from him. Of course, if you're not, what's the term that you used, Ben? Tickle your fancy?
Yeah, that's one. Nailed it.
Okay, so if it's not Richarlison, of course, this other guy can also tickle your fancy. Kelechi Iheanacho. That's the last time I'm mentioning him today, but he is the other option against Liverpool. Vardio subbed off the other time, and Kelechi scored the winning goal. Even if he gets 10 wins again, Ben, I fancy him to score against a very, very poor Liverpool side. So let me bring up the fixtures again. So from those fixtures,
Oh, as Glenn just accidentally, he's disappeared. I mean,
we're taking over now.
Yeah, we're taking over.
We'll look at the fixtures.
Yeah, we will. We'll have a look at them and go through a couple of teams. Here he is. He's back.
What a rookie mistake, huh? literally, there are 5 boxes here, and I pressed the wrong one. So, yeah, I was supposed to bring up the fixtures, but yeah, my question was going to be, Josh, again, goal scorers for each game. Leicester, Liverpool, who will definitely score in this fixture?
Jamie Vardy.
Ben?
James Maddison.
I was going to go with the same guy, James Maddison. Crystal Palace, Burnley, Josh?
Nobody.
Okay, Ben?
Nick Pope own goal.
Inject that.
Just imagine if that happens. I'll let you host the show.
You heard it here first if it happens.
I'm going to go with Ashley Barnes to score. City, Spurs, Josh?
Ilkay Gundogan.
Ben?
Raheem Sterling.
I'm actually going to go with Son. I actually feel like he'll score. Brighton, Villa, Josh?
Jack Grealish.
Ben?
Basuma.
I'm going to go with Watkins. Some really awful picks there, Ben. Some weird picks, but yeah, it's okay. Ben, Southampton, Wolves?
I'm going to go for Willian Jose.
They're currently playing right now. Southampton have just scored. Josh, who would you go for?
Danny Ings got to get a goal sooner rather than later.
I'm going to go for Traore. West Brom United, Josh?
Cavani.
Ben?
Bruno Fernandes.
I'm going to go with Rashford. I think he's fit.
Danny Ings did just score.
There we go.
Against Wolves in the FA. Wait, they're playing each other twice in...
They're playing each other twice in 3 days.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I'll bet the Danny Ings one then.
We played Southampton twice in 3 days.
And Newcastle.
The FA Cup and Newcastle. So remember, if we beat Southampton in that FA Cup tie, we would also have been playing Wolves like twice in a week as well. It's actually very weird. Ben, Arsenal versus Leeds, be very careful.
I go for... Smith Rowe.
Oh, come on, you're not that bad. You have to think for 6 minutes. Josh?
I think Rafinha's going to score. He looks very lively right now.
Ended Cahill's career. Absolutely ended Cahill's career. Like, it looked very, very good. I'm actually very worried playing against him. He looks very, very good.
I mean, Glenn, you're probably hoping he'd finish David Luiz's career, right?
No. David Luiz has been our best defender this season. That's how bad we've been, Ben. So Rafinha, if I'm gonna go for a different option, I don't know. I'm gonna go for Aubameyang. I don't think he'll start, but I'm gonna go for Aubameyang. Everton, Fulham, Ben.
Josh King.
Awesome. Josh.
I'm gonna go Anguissa.
Yeah, I'll back it. He's in my team. He's in my team.
Seriously? I also have him in my team, but on my bench, surprisingly.
Underrated, he is.
Underrated. I'm gonna go for Iwobi, just to please Ben. West Ham, Sheffield, Josh.
I reckon Oliver Burke.
Oliver Burke. Wow. Ben.
Jay Lings.
Jay Lings. I'm gonna go for Bowen. Chelsea, Newcastle, Josh.
Timo Werner's gonna score eventually.
Timo Werner. Ben.
Marcus Alonso.
You're really hoping, Josh. You're really hoping here with Timo Werner. You're really hoping. I'm gonna go for Joe Linton for Newcastle to score himself.
What are these picks?
Burnley against Fulham. Josh, surely they'll score this time.
That's one of the worst games I think you could ever televise.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's say Eric Peters somehow scores in that game.
Ben?
Nick Pope in goal.
Wow, that would be like a -6 or something, -8.
Imagine.
I'm gonna go for Lookman. The last one, Everton City, Josh.
Ruben Diaz.
Ruben Diaz, Ben.
I'm gonna go for João Cancelo.
Okay, one more minute. I know these guys are streaming in the next 15 minutes. So which team will definitely keep a clean sheet, Josh?
Definitely Fulham.
Ben?
Chelsea.
Chelsea, I do agree. Chelsea definitely clean sheet against Newcastle, but I've said Joe Linton to score. But you know what? I'm going to change that pick. I'm going to go for Crystal Palace against Burnley to keep a clean sheet. So 3 players that will definitely score, Josh, overall.
Cavani, Rafinha, and who else should I go for? Gundogan.
Ben?
Bruno Fernandes, Raheem Sterling, and we'll go for Mo Salah.
Mo Salah. Sorry, Josh. One question from Shiv. I have an issue this week. Who to bench? Watkins, Bamford, Gundogan, Rafinha, Salah, Son, and Bruno. Wow.
I mean, it's a good problem to have, isn't it?
Bench Bamford.
No, I wouldn't bench Bamford. He gets too many chances to bench. You'd have to bench one of the Leeds boys, though. So pick between the two. I'd probably saying not bench Bamford. I probably would if it is over Rafinha, because I think Rafinha looks unbelievable right now.
Awesome, man. Thank you, guys. The TikTok was scrolling down the bottom. Head over to their TikTok. They're starting in the next 15 minutes to stream 2 streams. I wonder whether they sleep. Yes or no, I don't know. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for all the questions. I really appreciate it. Let's hope for a very, very good week. Thank you for watching. Head over to their Twitch stream. Keep staying safe, and I'll catch up with you guys later.